بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome all of you wherever you are. And welcome you again with this program, Fatwa Life. The first question, with the coming of Ramadan and the natural look from a lot of people to bring their kids and their family to the masjid. And we cannot prevent people from the goodness and the prayers of Taraweeh in the masjid, and the fathers as well. And some people are complaining. The question is about bringing the kids. What are the rules to bring kids to the masjid? It came from a different masjid in Houston, and it's in English. The brother is asking, we have a situation in our mosque or masjid where few fathers are bringing their young born children and kids. Most of them are in diaper, who are making noises, running around, which is making it difficult for some musallin to perform their salah. I would like to have a fatwa in the light of Quran and Sunnah. What age that the father can bring their kids in the masjid? Jazakumullah khair. And the Sheikh is translating that to Arabic right now. It's a beautiful question, especially in a few days we're going to receive Ramadan. So we say, with Allah's bounty and mercy. For Amja, they have a beautiful decision about bringing kids to the masjid. I will bring it to you, and from it, inshallah, you'll know the answer. It says, bringing kids to the masjid, it's a matter that there is a different interest. The interest of the masjid and the respect for its buildings and to protect it, and the interest of the people who pray to quietness, so they and not to distract them, and also the fathers to bring their kids so they could attach their kids to it. Bringing the kids in the masjid of the Prophet ﷺ is a fact that you cannot deny. But to control that, it is a matter that is very important as well. The kids are not all the same. You could divide them into three different categories. Those who understand the secrecy of the masjid and to respect it, and it's respected when they reach the age of 7, it's a sign for that. The second part, who are known to obey their fathers and mothers, where they fulfill and they will follow whatever their parents tell them to do. And for those two categories should not be prevented from coming to the masjid, even if they are below 7. But those who are known to be stubborn and do not listen to their parents or any instruction you give it to them, and you have no respect to the but the scholars, they disliked them to come in to the masjid. They did not stop it, but they did not like it. Now, the management of the masjid, they have to be concerned about bringing kids to soften their hearts in the masjid. There's no other center for the kids except the masjid. Where people are going to take their kids if we close the doors on the kids? It is the only faithful places for them that they could live and be raised on Islam. So the management of the masjid, they have to be concerned about this and to soften their heart to come into the masjid and to have activities to distract them, to become busy and to have administrative things to make it available for them with the quietness as much as you can. This is the summary of it. The second one, also from a masjid in this masjid, the one who's asking, she said, my father died. He was old and he did not fast. He did not fast because he was elder. He did not pay uh, the kafara. So I'm trying to free him. Well, fairly so. Of course, the person who is old or someone is sick who cannot fast, they should not fast. But before we go to have the ease, let's talk about that ease. How does it go? Because she said, we have a patient. He's still alive, but he needs to take medicine every week, and another one 3 times a day. Does he break his fast, or how we go to uh, stop it from the burden? First of all, the the medicine that will not be affected with you could take it at night. You could take it at night, and Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. But you have to look at the other one 3 times a day. If you could make those at night, one when he breaks his fast, the other one in the middle of the night, and then the third one before Fajr, then it is no problem. But if that is not from a medicine point of view, that they have to take the medicine at certain times during the fasting time, then you use that ease that Allah has given for the people who are, and you have to feed needy for every day he does not fast. But there is an point in here that to glorify Allah's matter and His virtues, that you don't use His ease in either extreme. Don't be too loose and don't be too extreme in it. So don't be like too hard where you don't be able to take medicine or anything like this, and do not be too loose where you just do it in everything. The Prophet ﷺ saw someone who was fasting and he fell down because he still want to fast while he's traveling. He said, it is not from the piety of Allah Azza wa Jal to fast while you're traveling. If you get tired that hard, then you should not fast. But whether you are, but if they are equal, whether you're fasting or not, then fasting is better. Why? Because you're doing that worship in uh, the month of greatness, the Ramadan. You are fasting with the people. It's easier for you to fast, and the reward in Ramadan is different than the reward in other month. Then she asked, is it okay to pay fidya for missed Ramadan fast my husband? Can she pay the fidya for whatever missed from Ramadan from her husband? We tell her. I mean, she's an 81-year-old woman. Again, for those who cannot fast because of his age, to feed one person for every day. Because Allah said, for those who cannot fast, to pay the fidya of feeding one needy. The Ibn Abbas said, it is the elder man and the woman who are old, and they cannot fast, so they feed for each day a needy person, as narrated by Al-Bukhari. And the scholars of Saudi Arabia, they say those who cannot fast and continuously, not like the person who is old or the one who has a disease that you do not expect them to heal anytime soon, like the cancer patients and so on. You don't expect his healing. Allah said to feed him as much as you can, and Allah said Fear Allah as you can, and Allah does not overburden you more than what He's capable of doing. The fidya, you do it from your own money. If he died and he did not, from the relatives, did not pay for it, then if one of his kids or one of his relatives paid it, it's okay. Alhamdulillah. That is out of goodness to him. The feeding, you have to make the food and you bring the needy. It depends on the days that you have. That's what Anas ibn Malik did when he got older. The second way, to give them food that's not cooked, it's like half the sa', which is the measurement that they used. And Allah knows it. Now we go to the family problems about the khula. A woman is asking, can I make khula from my husband? I don't get any kid except the time that I wanted. And also he travels a lot. He leaves me alone in one apartment. Nobody's with me. And I'm afraid. All night I'm crying. If I sick, he don't come to me. And he stays in his other house. Sometimes I have to go to the hospital. I feel like I'm losing my health, and emotionally I'm very tired, and I feel I'm a prisoner by myself. So she's asking, can she ask the khula in this situation or not? The answer. We have two conditions. If a woman hates her husband and he is taking care of her, he is fulfilling his duties toward her from Allah, but she hates his living with him for one reason or another, and that time she can ask for khula and to pay her way to give him his dowry ban and to ask for khula. Because that's what the Prophet ﷺ did. And he said, do you take his dowry back? She said, yes. He said, okay. He told her to divorce her. If there is harm and she could prove it, don't be apart and a judge at the same time. You have to go to someone who's going to know. You have to talk about the individual part. What is the harm? If the arbitrator or the judge, they heard and they saw an evidence, then they do the divorce. And the reason, the difference is with the second part, with the harm, that she keeps all her dowries. And also she keeps the expenditure, the mut'a, which is a given that is given to the woman to make up for her emotional distress. But what decide on this is an arbitrator party, not the same person. You cannot be a judge and a victim at the same time. The khul, as Allah said, if you are afraid that they will not establish Allah's bounties, then there's no problem of what she pay back to give herself up or free. The hadith that a woman came to the Prophet, she said, Thabit ibn Qais, I don't see anything in his religion or his character, but I hate disbelief in Islam. The Prophet ﷺ told her, would you give him back his dowry? So he told her husband, take back your dowry and divorce her, one divorce. And this belief she's talking about is that she's not fulfilling the husband's duties and rights. But to ask the khul, beside that, with no Islamic thing, there is different same between hatred to forbidden. If she asks for khula, for no hatred, and she's not afraid that she's gonna have Allah's duties, her marriage duties to her husband, then any other excuse will not. It's very close to forbidden. So it is permissible, like the hadith of Sahla, She hated her husband not because of his character, not because of his religion. It's just because of she cannot fulfill his duties as a husband. But if it is just money, there is no actual harm, there is no abuse, then she is advised and she will be told very harshly to remind her of the saying of the Prophet ﷺ. Any woman asks her husband divorce with no good reason, it is forbidden her to smell the paradise. And the hadith of Abi Hurairah are the ones who ask for khula and are the hypocrites. They mean the ones who ask for divorce with no reason, so she could go from there is no reason for her to ask for the divorce, and that's a destruction to the marital household. There is nothing is more important for the shaitan, the devil. He put his throne on the water and he sent his army, and he expects them at the end of the day, so he could see what they did, what accomplishment they did. Each one will tell him, I did this full devilish plan. I did this. I said, no, he didn't do nothing today. Until someone who will say, I kept on him until I separated between him and his wife. Then he'll bring him. He said, you are the devil. And he bring him closer to him. You accomplished something today. No other devil did that today. So obviously destroying the household of the person and the divorce with no good reason, it's among the things that the devil implement in the human soul and in the believers. May Allah guide us and protect us. Anyway, this sister is between any of those two conditions, and I think it should go to arbitration to look into this matter. This way you do not be a judge, and also at the same time you are the executor and the victim. Some of the way to bring heat is to have some fire, but I heard you have to distinguish the fire by before sleep. Can I use this beautiful matter that is cheaper? And I was told you have to turn off the light before you sleep. We tell him, yes, it is recommended to distinguish the fire before sleep. Abi Musa, who said, there is a house that was burned on its people at night. So the Prophet ﷺ was told, this fire, it is your enemy. So if you sleep, turn it off. So when the Prophet ﷺ was told about this house that was burned in Al-Madinah, he said, this fire, it is your enemy. So if you sleep, make sure you turn off the fire in your house. Imam Qurtubi said in these hadith that the person, if he stayed in a house, there is nothing beside him and it has fire, he need to turn it off before he sleep, or to do all precautions not to cause any fire. So if you have to put some fire in the house for lights or for heat, and you still have some villages that people use it all night long. So if there is a reason to turn the fire on, so to see, or for heat, you have to be careful not to make sure that the fire is not close to any place that's going to start. Al-Hafid al-Hajar, he said, if the turning off the fire, to be careful of the rats. Because If they were afraid that the rat will always go and take that small piece of rope that's where the light comes on, if and it will cause the fire because it moves. But if you could sure that it cannot touch it and that will not cause any fire or accidentally fire, then it is okay. Then it's not forbidden to have it. The other question that's more accurate about the zakah money, we have to listen and accountably because there was a big debate on it. We work in a village in Syria for those who are affected by the earthquake. They don't pay us anything, but to make sure we don't sell so he will have a contract for a long time, as long he did not cause any problem. Otherwise, he will be kicked, and someone else use that housing. So it is a housing accomplishment. There's no ownership. We give him only the service and the good that the person has to fulfill the rules without causing chaos. Can we spend on these houses for the zakah? It's a beautiful question. Let's look at this matter very carefully. There is no direct yes or no answer because the zakah for the poor and needy is to honor to own whatever you give them because the charity is for the poor and needy and those who work on it and those who are softened their hearts. These are first four categories. Allah talking with the lamb, meaning to own, to give the poor what is spent to them from the zakah. This is what it looks like, and that's what the majority of the scholars say. But from the interest that might come in, or the basic need, you have to look into that condition. Can you see if an area that is hit by calamity, in a big emergency, they need a medical unit for emergency. You cannot get it from the general charity. You only have the zakah. And for the needy, you cannot get this service on the individual part where we tell him it's $50 and you take care of yourself. He cannot take care of himself. So is there something to stop this kind of unit from the zakah? So it will be a waqf for them. No one can be benefited except the poor and needy. And somebody else did, it will be with the money that go back to the person who stay there. This money is set for the poor and needy, the owners of this project. So it will be for them beside the Muslims. So another point, if there is an organization that represent them, and they ask for permission, they say, you are people of the zakah, and it is your ownership. You're more prior to it or it. Do you think can we have got service for you where you cannot cover it from money that is distributed? So it's that kind of organization that will fulfill their needs. Is that the ownership and is the individual ownership like the group ownership. So we give that construction, for example, for that organization that we set up, whether it is whatever it is that public ownership? Mm, is it the same thing like you do to the uh, companies that you took the value of the cattle fodder, and maybe the food in the cattle fodder, it's very clear about the ownership for zakah. The hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, the charity of fitr is half sa' food, and that's very clear. But a lot of scholars, they used it for the value. If the need of the poor indicate that. In some areas, they just take that rice and they give it to somebody else, and they lose from the principle of the money. So we allowed to take the zakat fitr with value if it is needed, and maybe the fitr to put it in food, it is very clear than the ownership in zakat and the money. Another dimension, the Islamic Fiqh Committee, they allowed, when they looked about using that money in investment that's going to bring some more income. And in some charity, they have millions. They use third, one half. They could not give it to the needy. Allah will put them accountable for it. But if, for argument's sake, they were truthful about what they said, we have fulfilled people's need, and we have extra of that money, can we invest it in projects that bring income to the poor and needy? The Islamic Fiqh, International Fiqh Committee, they came with this decision to put the zakah in investments that has without individual ownership to the deserved. Yes, it is in principle, it is allowed to use the zakah to investment for the people in need, or to be under the place that's in charge. And that's after fulfilling all the emergency needed for the poor. You cannot have someone hungry, or he's naked, and you try to invest. No. And have all the guarantees to stay away from losses. We put that you should not make it wider, because the zakah, what is given to the poor and needy, and ownership. So after the needs are done, then you take that decision, the appropriate decision. Today's actual question. Our brother is new with us, because that question we answered it several times, but we will answer it one more time, because the reminder benefit the believers. When you are exposed to affliction in religion, or to leave the obligations, or to do something forbidden, the hadith is for people who stayed in Mecca, didn't migrate. When the This believer took them to fight the Muslims. So they were under the affliction. They were taken by force to fight the Muslims. Allah said, for those that are, the angels took him, they are wrong to themselves. They said, what are you doing? They said, we were poor on earth. He said, wasn't Allah's earth big? These are the people of hellfire, the worst place. So who is preventing himself safe of in his religion? And now, too many things have changed. So some people might stay outside Muslim countries, easier for him in establishing the religion than to support him from his stay in. May Allah take that hardship on the Muslims. In summary, that the person stays wherever he is more satisfied to Allah and worship to Him, or more beneficial to religion of Allah, and so wherever you go, it's good. And we said Nu'aym bin Naham, he agreed to him to stay with the people of Mecca because they said that he will benefit, that he will take care of their orphans and their widows. Whenever he wanted to migrate to Al-Medina, he said, I want to worship my Lord. They said, stay with us. Take care of our orphans like you've been doing. And we leave you between you and your religion. You do whatever you want. So he stayed with them. They left him with his religion, took care of their orphans. The Prophet ﷺ, he admitted what he did. Nu'aym bin Naham. That's the summary of saying about this subject. A woman who's breastfeeding, does she compensate or she pay? No, she does do it some other days. Because this is temporary. You don't look at the person who's 90 years old or the person who have no cure. That's when that one is not there, then capable of fasting, that's okay. And I want to say something important. The pregnancy and the breastfeeding is not an excuse to break your fast. And we have so many women who are pregnant and she have enough energy to fast. So pregnancy is not a reason to break your fast. But what could lead to and that's different from traveling. The it has nothing to do with the hardship. It's about so if you're received like this, you still have the break your fast if you want. I have a question. My nose was straight. Now, after an accident, it became crooked. Can I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to take care of it for me? Yes, ask Allah anything you want. If this incident caused any flaws in the nose, you can do dua for it. The the surgeries to beautify themselves and for those who are in accident, but for those who want to increase in their looks, it's becoming crazy. So to take care of a flaw is not a problem. Someone at the time of the companions, his nose was cut. The Prophet ﷺ told him to use that from gold or to take out the flaws. Allah created the human being in the best of form. So go out of that is considered a flaw that you could maybe there's medicine for it. And everything you could seek, it is allowed. A woman, she had a fight with her neighbor, and somebody came in and tore her clothes, and she went to court to settle for 5,000. Is that her right to do? The scholars, they have different opinions. It is allowed, wallahu alam. So if that's from righteous people and people of religion, that's fine. If she wanted to be noble, she probably will not. Uh, she will take the accident for the sake of Allah, and hopefully Allah Azza wa Jal will increase her in her status. At their judgment, she will remember that. Where are those who's the person who's only the merciful could give them their reward? No one will stop except those who forgive people. Can you have the dog inside the house? Whomever owned the dog, except for hunting or for livestock, he will lose 2 qirats in his house. To have them for enjoyment, and that is not our culture or what is known by us. The So whomever get a dog, except something for hunting or one of cattle, he will lose 2 qirats on his every day. Choose a cat, it's better for you, and this way you don't get into that argument. So you cannot use 2 qirats, and each qirat is like a mountain of Uhud in goodness. The last question we're gonna conclude with. Hopefully, this is the last one. One of the sisters, she promised an Islamic institutions to donate a certain amount. It became hard, and she didn't know when that thing's gonna move again. So she found another institution that the right Sunni church. She wanna donate in that because it's they need to do it in 3 months. Can she take that money she puts for that project, the new project? I don't see anything wrong with what you said. This is a promise, is not binding. The pledges is a promise that is not binding. It's only binding when it comes to characters. And I'll give you an example, and I will give it to you. Someone came to the masjid. He said to make a pledge, $10,000. Thank you. Well, that's it. He changed his mind. Can I take him to court? Hey, he pledged for 10,000, he didn't pay it. Put him in jail? No, of course it's not gonna work because a gift is not binding. It is, and they said the evidence on this. Like you cannot. Someone he became bankrupt, and he allowed the to get his money. It depends on uh, the rules. Can someone stand there? No. So if there is a reason to, so I hope it is no burden. The nether, which is a promise, you can change it to what is better for you. Like I made a pledge to slaughter a goat. Can I slaughter a cow? Yes, it is bigger and it is definitely bigger. Abu Dawud, he said, a man started on the day of Fatah and he said, I made another. If Allah conquered Mecca, that I pray in Al Maqdis 2 rak'ahs. The Prophet told him, pray over here. So he repeated to him, but I made another. He said, pray it right here. So he said, that's your problem. خلاص. The Prophet told him what is better. The praying in the Masjid al-Haram, 100,000. It is much better than to travel. And you still get your another. When he insisted, خلاص, it's his problem. عليه الصلاة والسلام. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin, salatu salam ala Muhammad. Inshallah we'll continue next time. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.
Oh.